Welcome to the Jaden Show. I am Jaden Cornelius, your host for the next few minutes. We're going all the way to Maryland, to Lake Linganore, everybody, to meet folk singer, musician, songwriter, potential future novelist, Mr. Stephen Gellman. You're going to hear from him in a little bit more time, but I think we should listen to one of his songs, check him out in his video. This is called 29. This is Stephen Gellman.
This kid staring back at me, was I really that young and almost handsome? A blast from the past, here to remind me, photographic proof of a misspent youth. When did I get old? My story is now half told. I just wanna sleep, watch TV and eat. My memory's gone, I can't remember the words to my own songs, but in my mind, I'm still 29. I remember this guy, he had such dreams. They were not to be denied. I wanna tell him that some will come true, but most of them, they gotta fall right through. When did I get old? And my story is now half told. I just wanna sleep, read my books and eat. My memory's gone, I can't remember the words to my own songs, but in my mind, I'm still 29. 29. Well, that was then, and those days are gone. I need to accept and just move along. I can't do all the things I used to, but I still try to be that guy. When did I get old? My story is now half told. I just wanna sleep, play guitar and eat. My memory's gone, I can't remember the words to my own songs, but in my mind, I'm still 29. Yeah, in my mind, I'm still 29.
Absolutely bloody love that song. Let's go and meet the man behind the talent, the amazing Stephen Gellman, everybody, this week's special guest. Stephen Gellman, all the way from Maryland, USA. How are you, sir?
Thank you. I'm great. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you here, quite frankly. folk singer, musician, songwriter. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I've been doing music full time now for a living for several years. My new album just came out last week, a few days ago, maybe not even a week ago now. And it's called All You Need, and that's my 10th album.
Wow, amazing,
So,
man.
yeah, I can't believe I've made 10 records. I don't know where the time goes. He had asked my mother if she'd stay. I still don't have a day job, but
Just do to get one. So when did
living at it for a while.
When did it all start for little Mr. Gellman sitting around at home? Who was you into? What were your family listening to?
Yeah, well, actually, it was my family that kind of got me into music because I have two older sisters and an older brother, and they're all very close in age. So it's like I have a sister, then there's like a year, then a brother, then there's like a year, then a sister, and then there's 10 years, and then there's me.
Oh,
So they were all quite older than I was, and I would just rummage through their collections of music while they were out of the house. And so I, at a very young age, I was really introduced to really great music. And like I had children's records and I didn't want to listen to those. I wanted to listen to, the music my siblings were playing.
what were they listening to?
So this was a really great time. So it was bands like Fleetwood Mac and the Eagles and Linda Ronstadt and all those kind of California late 70s music. So, I mean, I was very, very young, like a very small child, but it really, really spoke to me.
That was amazing. And are they still the tunes and the artists that you fall back to when you're having your chill out times or when you're writing? Because they've all got that folky vibe. So are they kind of still, do they play a main part in your musical life now?
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. And I didn't realize it until later, but I did gravitate to the bands that had an kind of an acoustic, like storyteller, singer-songwriter vibe to them. Mm-hmm. Like Bruce Springsteen and these people who would write songs that, told stories. And so I do still go back to them. Of course, I've discovered lots of other music since then too, but no, I'm still a fan of all those artists. They're still my comfort place.
Go to. How did the transition from little listener to actually I kind of want to do this as a career, as a hobby that might turn into a career? How and when did you start learning musical instruments and all this kind of thing?
Well, it's really kind of a strange journey. When I didn't start playing guitar and doing music till the end of high school, my senior year. So I wish I had started earlier, but I had spent my whole childhood, this is going to go in left field, but drawing comic books.
Okay, cool.
And that's all I wanted to do was draw comic books and superheroes. That was my first love. And that's all I did. And my parents were like, why can't you go outside and play sports like your brother? You're always just sitting there drawing. But that's what I love to do. And then finally at the end of high school, they're like, well, I guess you'll go to college for an art degree. And then I'm like, oh, now you're going to support me? Well, guess what? I'm going to be in a rock and roll band. That's what I'm going to do. So, I saved up some money and I bought a cheap electric guitar, and I brought the sheet music for Joan Jett's I Love Rock and Roll.
Okay.
And I didn't know that I should buy a book to show you how to play the guitar, which would have been the smarter thing to do, but I wasn't smart, as you probably already figured that out by my rebellious, nature here. So, but I did have rudimentary knowledge of music by being in chorus in high school. So I just applied that and I'm like, okay, so this is an E, I knew how to read the staff, the music staff. And then I just applied it and I started teaching myself. Wow. And then I tried to play in bands, but nobody was ever as serious about it as I was. everybody rather go out with their boyfriends or girlfriends. And I'm like, no, we have to rehearse. And nobody wanted to. So it was just left to me. And I guess it was probably some heartbreak or something. And I finally put down the electric, and I had this acoustic that someone had given me that was their brother's somebody who didn't want it, but I never touched. It was under the bed. I remember when I pulled it out for the first time, it was just covered in a layer of dust.
Really?
Because, as a teenager, I was like, I don't want to play that. I want to play rock and roll. But I went to it, and it just started speaking to me, and I really fell in love with acoustic music, folk music. And then I kind of went back and discovered all those original, like, people who paved the way in the 60s, the folk singers, and just fell so in love, like felt at home, like this is where I belong.
To be doing right.
And then, so I started college for that art degree that my parents wanted me to do, but I didn't want to do it anymore. So I dropped out of college, and then I'm like, I got to make some money. So I went to work at the National Institutes of Health. But as someone who didn't have
National Institute, I thought you said health.
No, health, NIH, and like I didn't have any skills, so it was just a boring desk job. And I'm like, I need to find somewhere I can be creative. So there was an ad in the local paper for a nursing home down the street to plan activities for the residents. And I thought, okay, well, this is somewhere I can be creative. And so I went working there. I loved that. And then they're like, you play guitar, you should bring your guitar in and play for us. And so I would bring the guitar in and play songs there. And then other nursing homes heard about me. So then like they started wanting me to go. So I was able to leave that job and just play music. So I would go during the day, I'd play in nursing homes, I'd play in hospitals, I'd play in schools. And then in the evening, I would play the coffee house circuit, in the clubs, and I was able to make a living out of music, and I haven't stopped. So that was probably a very long answer to your question.
No, that was a perfect answer to the question, actually. So when you were playing the electric guitar and you were focused on being a rock and roll star, were you still kind of listening to and vibing from kind of folky music and more acoustic bass? Or did that not come until you thought, I'm going to get interested in the acoustic guitar? And then did you start playing rock and roll music on the acoustic? I mean, did the two genres kind of cross over?
Well, yeah, they always kind of cross over. They still cross over. I'll still pull out at a gig and play. I have a lot of original music, but I do still play covers occasionally. And I'll throw out a Green Day song or something. And the problem is, I sound like John Denver singing it. So it's kind of a weird mashup. So sometimes I'll take rock and roll songs and deliberately turn them into folk songs. Like it always gets a laugh. Like I take Kisses, I want to rock and roll all night, and I turned it into like a kumbaya ballad.
Great.
So yeah. So sometimes I do that,
and it works. Well, I found it interesting. Well, like I was, becoming a little bit more well known in the 90s, and it was like, you have to find a genre, you have to find a pigeonhole, and you have to stick with this, and you can't introduce new instrumental kind of flavors or anything. It just has to be pop, R&B, soul, classical, whatever. And then as I got older, and especially in the last probably 10 years, I then started doing classical and opera. And then because obviously I look like an opera singer being covered in tattoos and piercings, so it actually worked in my favor. And then I moved to Mexico, and I've been in the middle of singing something like Nelson Dorma, and someone would tap me on the shoulder and go, do you know any Whitney Houston? In the middle of back in Pavarotti. So I'd be like, okay, I want to dance with somebody. And now I make a joke at all my events that I will do everything from like Pavarotti to Celine Dion, the Eagles to ABBA, Brittany to Dua Lipa. And I just sing it always. I mean, obviously, I have to play with the songs with my voice a little bit, because if I sung, like, cause my body's too bootylicious for you, baby, I'm going to get stuff thrown at me, right? So I have to play with how I sound within that. But I just do the stuff that I enjoy now. And I just, I'm never going to sound like Kylie Minogue, and I'm not going to sound like Luther Vandross. But I sing them and I love singing them, and people seem to be like, oh, this is cool, man. This is such a variety. So I like the fact that you're not just kind of sticking to your folk genre, you're kind of making other songs yours as well. That's really, really cool.
Well, what you said speaks to me, and that's what I go by. I just do what I love.
Yeah.
You know, I have to, especially if I'm singing someone else's song, there has to be something about it that I love. You know, I won't just sing a song to sing it because it's popular or whatever. It has to speak to me, whether it's a melody or lyrics or whatever. But it has to, and I just, you know, I think it's something that sounds like we both learned that, like, as you get older, it's like you don't need to worry about anyone that, like, just do what you love, right? And they'll either like it or they won't. And you know, and it's just, that's okay.
Well, you make it infectious by having a good time. I think one of the most positive things to come out of the whole COVID era is, on some level, is the recognition of the fragility of our industry. So, you know, you can't afford to say, right, I'm doing these 5 songs and I ain't budging from these 5 songs. Like, because the work, you don't know when the next pandemic is going to hit. So you've got to start getting work now. So maybe you've got to take something that all the people know at the nursing home and start doing that. Or you have to go and do a coffee bar where they actually want some French, I don't know, like La Vie en Rose or something like that played acoustically. And you have to think, no, I do kind of like that. You know, I can't just do, I'm only doing my 4 songs and that's it. You have to learn to be a little bit more creative in your creativity, I guess, you know, because we know that it could all finish tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that's true. And something you said earlier, so I was briefly in Ireland, and I do a lot of Irish music because I love Irish music. And so when I was there, they said they gave me a name, and they called me Pavi Denver because they thought I was a cross between Pavarotti and John Denver.
Sweet. Remember.
But for the longest time, they had to correct me. I thought they were calling me Patty Denver. But they said, no, it's Pavi Denver for Pavarotti.
Pavi Denver does sound like an Indian drag queen, though.
Yeah, it does.
Maybe if all else fails, that could be in your next venture.
Now I can't get that
Pavi Denver.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing, man. Fantastic. So what would you say has been the highlight of your career to date?
Oh, the highlight, I think the most amazing thing I ever did was I got to open a show and play with Richie Havens before he died.
Wow, okay.
And 2 amazing things happened during that show. One was his stage manager suddenly had a death in the family and had to leave suddenly. So when he broke a string during his show, the person who would take care of it wasn't there. So the security staff, it was at a venue called the Birchmere in Virginia, brought it back and said, can you change the string on Richie Havens' guitar? And I'm like, hell yeah, I can. So I got to change the string on his guitar. But the thing that happened before that was, obviously I was the opening act. I was so nervous. Do you know what a capo is?
Yeah.
For a guitar? Yeah. So I literally went to put the capo on my guitar and I snapped it in my hand. I had no idea how I snapped this capo in half, you know. I can barely pick up a box, and I snapped it. I was so uptight. So he gave me his capo to use during the show. So I got to use his capo, and then I got to change the string on his guitar. And that's, you know, I've definitely had some other highlights, but that always stays with me as one of the best.
Amazing, man. So what are you doing at the moment?
What am I doing at the moment? So right now, my album just came out, and we've got the official release concerts coming up this Sunday. So gearing up for that with my band, and just been trying to push myself to do promotion because I really hate it and I'm not good at it. And and I'm not adapting well to the change in the industry.
Okay.
I'm kind of set in my ways, and I'm used to the old days where you play a show and people would line up to buy CDs and have them signed.
Yeah.
And they used to read the liner notes, and I haven't adapted well to this whole digital thing. It's like you're like, are you on Spotify? I'm like, yeah, I'm there, but I never do anything. I never promote it because, well, you probably know, it's like I get reports from my music distributor, and it's like a song will be played 100 times, and you have to play so many times to make a penny. You don't even get a penny per tune. No. So it's like pages and pages of like just 0.1. Yeah. And it's just frustrating. So I miss the days when people would line up to buy records and stuff. So I've had to adapt. Like we just made, now we're making vinyl, which is kind of exciting.
Okay.
But it's still a niche. So this record came out on vinyl, and my last record came out on vinyl. But still not everybody's into it. It's kind of you have to find the people who love vinyl.
Yeah.
But, so I'm trying to push myself to do promotion better, but it doesn't come easy to me.
Welcome to it's the same for me as well. I kind of I was, like doing it back in the day where we had, your reel to reel in the studio or your DAT kind of, quite modern. And now, like I said, all my music that's on Spotify is all been put up by other people. I haven't got any of it on Spotify or anything. I know I'm all over there, but I haven't put a thing up.
Well, that's good. I mean, you won't make any money, but it's good.
At least I'm there. I'm searchable. That's the main thing.
Right.
But I was talking to a guest a couple of weeks ago. Like I used to run some nursing homes for disabled adults and adolescents.
Oh, neat.
And then I used to then work in one when I left where I was living, moved back to London. I just worked for an agency in nursing homes, so that was my thing. And so you could do potentially quite a pretty heavy 12-hour shift where you might have had a couple of kickoffs and you've been punched or spat at or had your hair pulled or something like that. And then you get home knackered, like super tired. You try and get something to eat quickly, and you can't watch TV because you've got to do 6 to 8 hours on getting followers on YouTube and Twitter. And that's not to mention Snapchat, TikTok, blah, blah, SoundCloud, Reverb Nation. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't have time. Thank God on some of the sites, you can link them all up. So you post one thing and it shares it on Twitter and Insta, but I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how anyone just doing the social media side of things would be 2 people full-time job.
Yeah, full-time.
But as you know, from an artist, we don't earn particularly that much money. So we can't afford to pay 2 people to do our social media.
Absolutely.
But
so we've got a lot in common. This is really great to meet you because you worked in nursing homes like I did. You love animals like I do. So that's pretty cool. I love that.
No, I do. Well, I think we might have to do a collaboration in the future.
I like that. That sounds great.
Cool. I fancy doing a bit of kind of folky acoustic stuff. That would be bloody lovely. Bloody lovely.
Sounds
But I also, but like you, I really missed that. Not because of the money thing, because even when, people were buying albums and downloading, you might have sold a few albums or CDs or, back in the day, cassettes. But at the same time, it was about you saw people wanted you. That was one of the, and the interaction you would have, like, what's your name? Where'd you come from? And you realize they've actually traipsed like 2.5 hours to come and see your show. And they brought 2 albums because one's for their grandma because she's sick and she really wants your album as well. And you're like, wow, man, that gave you the impetus to keep going. Now, I don't know who's following me I've got, however many people following me on Twitter. I don't know the Queen of Sheba is bloody following me. I haven't got a clue as far as I don't know who's following, who's buying, who's listening, who downloaded. So really it's quite, on that side, it's a very isolated, quite a lonely industry.
Yeah.
You've only got your events to actually interact with the people that love your music. But at the same time, I was saying to a friend as well that, I can be doing something, go for a wee, make a cup of tea and come back. And I just sold an album in Ethiopia and I have no idea how that happened. I didn't do anything.
Right.
So you have all that kind of, you're worldwide from literally sitting on your ass in your bedroom. You don't have to go to the local pub or coffee shop and, do a 2-hour gig for free to promote your stuff, and in order to get fans that people do like you. So, I mean, it's like a double-edged sword, isn't it, really? A bit of a blessing and a curse, to be fair.
Yeah, see, and I crave that. And maybe it's partly the music that I do, the folk music. I like that coffee house setting. I like I like that atmosphere. Yeah. I like the connection, the storytelling and meeting people. And when someone says like, well, that song you wrote that about me, like that's my story, or like when you hear those things, I mean, there's just nothing better than that.
No, absolutely, and you realize the intense power of music as well. I remember I had to do I did have to do it. I didn't guess I didn't have to do it, but it felt like I had to do a shopping centre in West London, and I was just really, like I just started getting bored of doing things for free and not really, people just walking past you with their Primark shoebox and not really caring about or you seeing where the music's coming from. And I was a little.
That is something I've never done. A shopping center.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if that's just like something like over where in London they do that.
London,
like around here, I've never known any live music in a shopping center before. So I don't know.
It is quite cool, but for me, it was like I've just done so many, and people just get on with their shopping. It really is, they might as well just have a CD on. And I remember this woman, just was, and you always get a couple of crazies as well. To be honest. The one that's kind of trying to get in front of your mic and read your lyric sheet, or something like that. It's just, and there was this one woman, and she seemed really lovely, but very quiet, very like intimidated by everything it seemed. And she was just standing, and for a laugh, I just sung "Dancing My Father" by Luther Vandross because it was just, I really felt like singing it. I felt a bit sad. I missed my dad, and I just wanted to sing a song, so I just sung it. And she came up to me afterwards, and she was very, very timid, and she said, "I've not been out of my house for something like 15 years." She said, "I've been complete introvert and reclusive for 15 years." And she goes, "This weekend, I've been doing like 12 years of therapy or whatever it is, and I decided to venture out this weekend for the first time. And I heard you singing, and that was my dad's song, and I had to come and find who you were." And I was like, I'm doing every shopping centre I can do now. That's it.
Yeah, that's the stuff you got to keep with you because, there's a lot of heartbreak in this too, where things don't go right. So, like, you got to remind yourself, remember those stories because, yeah, I mean, that's gold.
Yeah,
that's just gold.
So you've got an up and coming promotional tour of your new album. What's after that? What's your plan? Are you back in the studio doing the number 11 or number 12, or are you doing videos? What's going on?
So here's the weird thing. So after I'm doing this, I'm finishing up. So during COVID, like all of us, like because I did music full time for a living, I lost all my work. Like, it's gone. So I had nothing. Yeah. So I was trying to figure out what I'm going to do with myself. And like to try and make money, I was doing what I called videograms because everybody was trapped in their home. So people would hire me to sing a song and send a message to their loved ones. Lovely. And that's how I got by with some money. But during the day, I was just watching talk shows. And one day I'm like, I can't just sit here in bed watching talk shows until this is over because it doesn't seem like it's going to be over anytime soon. And I said, one day, I've always wanted to write a book, a novel. And I remember this so clearly. So I got out of bed, I put on the kettle, I made a cup of tea, and I sat down. I brought my computer to the kitchen table, and I sat down, and I did this every single day until I finished writing a novel.
Wow, man.
So I wrote a novel, and And then I don't know how much you know about that world. I didn't know anything about that world.
Okay.
But to get published, you have to get a literary agent, which is really hard to do. So I've been in the process of trying to get a literary agent. And I have a couple people who are interested, but people want some changes done, to my manuscript. So as soon as I'm going to start Monday morning, because after the big concert Sunday, I'm going to go back to working on my manuscript. Hopefully, get this literary agent who will hopefully be able to sell my book to a publisher, and hopefully I'll get a book. And if that happens, then I'm planning on writing an album as a companion piece to the novel.
Lovely, good idea, that, man.
Yeah.
What happened if you don't get an agent or you don't get it published? Would you consider self-publishing?
Well, at this point, I don't want to, but that certainly is
Maybe
a road you could do. But I have been self-publishing my music and it's my own label for 10 albums now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think I can do this again. Just for the reason we're talking about, it's like, it's exhausting when you have time for all this. So I'm trying to keep the faith, Jaden, and hopes, knock on wood, that I'm going to get this literary agent. And I do have one who seems very, very interested.
Great.
So I don't want to jinx it. Actually, I have two. So, but that this will happen. I'm just trying to keep the faith.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
you have to come back on this bloody show when it happens, not if it happens.
I will let you know.
So from Stephen Gellman, folk singer extraordinaire to author extraordinaire. We will do. You have to change your background, change your outfit, and then we'll do another show. That'll be lovely. Talking about how did it start?
They're actually really the same. I didn't even think about it. I'll tell you what put the idea in my head was a few years before COVID. I was at a book festival because, I have three loves, Jaden: music, animals, and books. And so I was at a book festival, and there was this place called the Writer Center, and I was just looking at them, wondering what it was. And they're like, "Hey, do you write books?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not a writer." And they're like, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm a songwriter." And they said, "Hello, you have the word writer in your name." And it was like a light bulb went off. I never thought about it. I've just been writing like 3-minute novels, And so I thought, one day I'm going to do this. And then I kind of, life went on. I'm busy. And then COVID happened. And then I was like, you know what?
Let's do it.
Now's the time.
Good for you. Bloody good for you.
Yeah.
COVID was, for the tragedy that it brought, there were some amazing new births as well of creativity and people having to find that's how the Jaden show started. I had no one to talk to. I was in isolation in the middle of the jungle with no one to speak English with, and apart from my mother a few times a week, and that was kind of it. So I thought, I need to meet people. I need to talk to people. I'm not doing any music. I need to talk about music if I can't do it. And I want to meet.
Cool.
So I was like, and I love talking, and I could have my cup of tea.
Yes.
Sit down with my cup of tea and chat to people in my language in the jungle of Mexico, and meet other musicians, talented people, songwriters, novelists, sculptors, and sculpturists. What would that be? Someone who makes sculptures and things like that. And it was like, great, man, I love this. And it just became part of but it's still Jaden Cornelius doing this thing, So whether it's singing or talking.
Can I ask you? So how did you get from London to Mexico?
I stupidly got married to a Mexican and agreed to move here.
Okay.
Which went horribly wrong and still is going. It's in the final stages of getting rid of, but yeah, it wasn't the best decision I've made. However, I think it was possibly one of the bravest and most life-changing decisions of my life, but every time you do something new, you're starting again, whether it be from writing a book for the first time, even though you might have established Stephen Gellman as an artist, you still now have to start all over again because people have to see that side of you. And I guess, I was doing really well. I'd just done my third studio album, written with a, really beautiful girl, classical singer. I'd written half the songs myself with a friend of mine. It was really, I was just like, this is what I've been wanting to do for years. And then my penis fell in love, and that was it. And the ultimatum was Mexico or see ya. I was like, I don't want to go. And I really didn't want to go to Mexico. Like, there was 1 millimeter of my being that wanted to live here. I'm English through and through, and I really love living in Europe, and all the joys that brought maybe pre-COVID. Now I think I'm very lucky to live here, and I love a lot of it, and probably could never see myself moving back to Europe. Maybe, I don't know, everything changes, but so yes, that's how I got here. But then I kind of, you lose everything. You don't just lose seeing your family every week, you lose all your memories. You can't walk down the street and go, me and my nan went here for a coffee when I was 6, and me and my dad used to go fishing here. You lose everything. Nothing is recognizable, including your culture, including your language, including your climate. I mean, everything, so it really is. You go through the whole grieving process, then the angry and the, pissed off process, and then the depressed process, because now you're missing. You haven't been here long enough to feel like it's at home, but you've been away for too long to feel that that's your home. And so you don't belong anywhere. And that's that's more difficult than I ever imagined. And in all honesty, apart from my animals, who, even though all 20 so of them have been rescued, they have saved my life more than I've ever saved theirs. And if it wasn't for something like this, where I could have dialogue with people about things that I'm passionate about, I love to see people succeed. I love hearing about people's success and how they are creating and finding new ways to exhibit and manifest their creativity and their passion. It inspires me to not be a lazy, depressive Piscean, and to get off my arse and to continue, so not to sit in my bed, which I could quite easily do, just sit in bed watching YouTube documentaries and things all day, right? And I haven't done it once, and that's because I've got 20 animals that make me get my ass out of bed in the morning to feed them and take them for walks and make sure that I've got one dog who's only got 2 legs, so he's 100% reliant on me for water, food, cuddles, getting in and out of the house. So I can't lay in bed feeling sorry for myself. I can't even lay in bed with salmonella or dengue. I've got to get up and I've got to crawl to the changing room, to the dog feeding room that where, I do everything to, to make sure they're done. So that actually my move to Mexico has probably actually been one of the biggest blessings of my life, in all honesty. It's still the hardest, the most challenging. I mean, I meet a lot of people here and go, so you moved here from the States. How long was it until you kind of felt at home? They're like, oh man, I felt at home like the second day. And I'm like, I haven't felt at home once in nearly 8 years. It
is really brave what you did. I feel such a kinship with you. We're just meeting for the first time, but we have a lot in common.
Dude,
so I'm really glad you found me.
Bless you, mate. No, and we'll definitely keep in touch as well. Absolutely, we'll definitely keep in touch. So, apart from obviously the new highlight of your career is starring on the Jaden show, what does releasing a book? So, you're doing the whole book thing. We know that this is going to go okay, so we don't have to think about the ifs, mights, and maybes, because this is going to work, because you are amazing at your music. Why are you not going to be amazing at your book writing? This is, it's going to be one of those things. What happens then? Do you carry on the road to, I don't know, Jane Austen, or are you going to be, are you going to continue music? Are they both going to play an important role? Because that's a lot of work you're taking on.
Well, like I said, I've always had 3 loves. That's never changed. So there's always going to be animals in my life. There's always going to be books in my life, whether I'm writing them or reading them.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to be playing the guitar, singing, and writing songs. Things change and ebb and flow as you age and stuff, and like, where I used to just take off and do tours across the country and stuff, go up to Canada and play. I do a lot less of that now. I kind of just play locally, and I still do. I just did a tour up in New England occasionally, but it's a lot less touring, more at home, and so these things ebb and flow. And right now I kind of look at it as one project at a time. Okay. So it's like I did this album, which I also wrote over COVID, this whole new album. all you need. Actually, I can hold it up. Here's the
Oh,
vinyl.
look at that.
Yeah, and it's on
That is bloody cool, man.
Ernst Lewis and Emerald Green. So, I wrote this record as well over COVID, and I've been, working hard. Now it finally came out to do some promotion and do stuff. And then I'm going to transition to try and finish my book. And then we'll see what happens. If the book gets picked up, then I'll write, like I said, the album to go with the book. Yeah. If not, I might, there's two people have been asking me for years. I mentioned earlier, I do a lot of Irish music, traditional Irish music. So people have been asking me to make an Irish record for years.
Lovely.
And there's a place I play at regularly, and they call me the Jewish Leprechaun. So if I ever make my Jewish Leprechaun album, maybe I'll do that next. I've also wanted to do an album with a string quartet. Lovely. And so these are things I want to do. And then I also have, if my writing takes off, I have my second and third novel in my head.
Really?
I know what they are. Yeah.
I guess you just let the universe dictate and direct, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Bloody amazing. Oh, I'm so chuffed for you, man. That's really exciting.
Thanks.
Exciting news. Yeah. And yeah, I on my last album, I done a little version of She walks through the fair, she runs through the fair.
Oh yeah, she moved through the fair.
She moved through the fair. I knew she was going in that direction. And the other one.
Are you sure you're a Brit? You don't.
I've actually got a little bit of Irish there as well from Southern Ireland.
Sure okay, I didn't hear that. We can just blow that out.
Yeah, but somewhere in that, a bit of Welsh, a bit of Irish, and English. Yeah,
nice.
I also oh my God, I'm blanking. My young love. No, that's She Moves Through the Fair.
That's it. No,
another one.
That's it. That's She Moves Through the Fair.
I did another one, another Irish folky, but I've done it a bit more classically on my album, and my brain is completely blanked. You have to go and check out my Hold On To Me album. There's two Irish.
Okay, I will for sure. So where's the best place to direct me to find that?
I would say, I mean, you can go and look I'm on Spotify, but you can also go and check out, there are different playlists on my YouTube. So it has pop playlists. If you look in the classical playlist, you'll find all my classical music.
Okay.
Pop playlist. I've got pop playlist, classical playlist, written by Jaden playlist. So there's a whole there's different, but Jaden Cornelius, just all on my, it's not my interview, it's yours. But where will we find you, Mr. Gellman? You're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter,
we just released a video yesterday for my song Little Victories. So you can find that on YouTube. The album just came out, and the album's available, everywhere you buy or listen to music. Of course, as artists, we love when people come directly to the artist to purchase. Yeah. Even if they want a digital version, if they do it, through my website or through Bandcamp, this is much better for us as artists.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I appreciate anyone or everyone who wants to listen to me, and you can find me anywhere you can find music. Just put in my name.
How can people find what shows you've got coming up? Is that going to be on your
That's on my website as well, which is
hiddenpoet.com.
Yeah, hiddenpoet.com. Just like it's sound, HIDDENPOET.com.
Throughout the whole of this interview, underneath this chat, is going to be kind of written where people can find you and people can hunt you down. Beautiful. So that would be really, really cool. That's super cool, man. And where we've just played 29 before this interview. So we're actually going to see Little Victories after this show. So tell me a little bit about the song.
So yeah, this has been a special one for me because I wrote it about a very specific thing, but I've had so many, this song in particular, people have come up, my cat is digging her claws into my leg. I told you this would happen. She's like, pet me. That's why
I have to took all mine out in the garden. I heard earlier. I'm like, no, attention.
what was I saying now?
Those
She
little
literally,
victories. You
yeah.
said people were coming to you.
Right. So, in fact, it started when I was recording it in the studio, and one of the musicians who was playing on the track said to me during one of the takes, between takes, she said, "Can I ask you what this is about?" And I told her what I wrote it about, and she's like, "Oh, interesting." She's like, "I was sure you wrote it about someone who had cancer and was going through chemotherapy."
Wow.
She's like, "Because I just lived this." She's like, I just finished chemotherapy, and this song you wrote, this was my story.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, like it never occurred to me, because when you write stuff in the bubble, you kind of know what you're talking about. And that just kind of, wow. And then I remember the first show I played it at, someone came up to me and said, "This really touched me. We just lost our son to suicide, and you're like, this was about suicide, right?" And I'm like, that's not what I wrote it about, but please, if it's about suicide to you, then that's what it's about.
Yeah.
I mean, so when people, find themselves in the song, and put their own story to it, it's just like,
No, it's
wow.
humbling. It's so empowering and humble. I remember back in my day, I used to be a Christian, doing gospel stuff, and I don't do any of that now. But I used to have a really good relationship with my religion, I guess I would call it. And so I would spend a long time thinking, right, I've got a ministering song this particular Sunday. What am I going to sing? And I would always choose a song to sing that I felt I needed to sing. And people would come up to me and go, "Oh my God, you could not have been more spot on with those lyrics," or "You don't realize how much that has helped me with, the message." And then when I just became Jaden and following Jadenism, which is my own take on all my philosophies and religions and spiritualities. And I wanted to write an album, which was the song that She Moves Through the Fair, and it was there and it's gone again. I can't remember the other song. But anyway, I wanted to write an album. The songs that I had written was literally, I wanted to write an album that is gospel in the sense that it is good news. Like, I want it to be encouraging and uplifting and motivating, and people can go, "Oh my God, that's how I'm feeling. Like, I'm really feeling in the pits of my hell at the moment." But I know that sometimes that is when you see the light the clearest. And I didn't want it to be religious, spiritual, yeah, because I'm a spiritual person, but I didn't want it to be religious, or I just wanted to be an album that will touch people when they hear a particular song, because I think more than any money in the world, there is nothing more rewarding than you being able to completely change someone's life just because, they've heard that particular lyric and they thought, right, sorry, I'm changing this as of today. I've got to do this, So I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing. Well, we're going to listen to that in a minute. So people at home, I want you to go and find this man ASAP. So before this program even finishes, get off your lazy bums, get to your keyboard and type in Facebook, Twitters, www.com sites. If not for him, then for his doggy. Please do this.
Oscar says, "Listen to my father. Don't listen to my dad.
Don't follow my pop. Follow my pop." Bless him, mate. He's so handsome. Look at that face. I do dog grooming as well.
In the video.
You want to send him down?
Yeah, you'll see him in the video. He's in the video, and he joins us, like in the summertime. We play all these outdoor festivals and stuff. He's just on the stage. We put a blanket down, and he just sits in with the band. He's like one of the band members, so he goes to all the shows and everything.
Well, it's funny because actually it's not the same breed, but I've got a little poodle called Calcetin, which means sock, and and actually I just released a pop. I was doing classical ballads, a bit of everything. Now I'm just doing Jaden, and so I've just released How I Found You was on the Q32 chart, so I got to number 1 on the Q32. And in the song called Lost Without Your Love. And if you watch the video, that halfway through, there's one woman, Calcetin is coming into the camera and he was dancing in the garden as well, one of my pups. So yeah, I think they're family, right? They've got to be included.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Stephen Gellman, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule of songwriting and novel writing to be part of the Jaden show.
Thank you so much for finding me and inviting me on. I feel like I've made a new friend. I'm being serious. So I hope we'll stay in touch because I feel real kinship with you.
No,
so,
absolutely. And we do need to do something musically in the future.
Absolutely.
So that would be cool. Absolutely super cool. Thank you so much. People at home, go and find Stephen everywhere. And then let's stay in touch as well. And then let me know when your book comes out or other things are happening and we can do another show and chat about it and promote it.
Great. And give a little scratch to all your dogs for me.
I will do. It'll take me a while, but I'm on it. Don't you worry. All right, mate. Take care.
Thank you so much, Jaden.
See you later.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What a super cool guy is Mr. Gellman. I do hope that you'll go and find him on all of his social media and music download platforms. Go and show a brother some love. Go and support him. Go and also definitely get that book ordered as soon as it hits the shelves of the bookstores near you. It's going to be a cracker, and I know so well that boy is going to succeed in everything he does. Thank you so much, lovely people, for being part of my Jaden show. It's been lovely to spend 40 or so minutes with you again this Sunday. I'm also already excited to share with you another wonderful person next week on the Jaden show as well. I hope you have a spectacular week. I hope to see you on my other social media platforms as well. Don't be a stranger. Come and say hello. Please share this with your friends. Please make sure they're subscribed. Please, so I can continue what I'm doing, introducing you to the world's loveliest, talentedest, and nicest. Please subscribe. Please share, please comment, please like, and I'll see you again on my show next Sunday with another fantabulous person. Take good care, you. Stay beautiful. Bye-bye.
You got up today, made your bed, brushed your teeth, and you called a friend. Little victories, little victories. Put on clean socks, went for a walk, brushed your hair, about yourself you cared. Little victories, little victories. Celebrate the small, and even if you fall, you will still be ahead. Tiny steps are best. Went to the store, bought some food, cooked a meal, your mood improved. Little victories, little victories. Celebrate the small, and even if you fall, you will still be ahead. Tiny steps are our best. You had a bad day, that's okay. You're doing just fine. These things take time. These things take time. Celebrate the small, even if you fall, you will still be ahead. Tiny steps are best. I got up today